Hello, everybody. This is Gustavo Faleiros, Knight International Journalism Fellow based in Brazil. You can see we're having a beautiful sun hitting my face right now, but soon it's going to be down. It's 5 p.m. here in Brazil, 1 hour ahead of our schedule in New York time. So I'll be talking to you today about mapping data, more specifically the data, the environmental data, which is my expertise on the projects we've been doing in partnership with ICFJ. And so I'll be sharing my screen with you and also posting some links on the Google Plus ICFJ page as we go. In this case, you will be able also to have these documents with you. Also, we will be accepting questions from the participants. You either can do this by posting your questions directly on ICFJ post about the hangout post video, and I'll be seeing this, and the staff which is helping me, helping us with this hangout, will forward the question. The questions also can go on as comments on YouTube. ICFJ page will be broadcasting the all right, I'm gonna share my screen with you, and it is to mix a little bit which we have with, and also giving you some tips where to find the best data sets and the formats. I have some small problems with my connection, but let's see how it goes. Sorry, I'm just freezing a little bit. This. Okay, yeah, my screen is frozen, but I think it's getting back. I'm sorry. Okay. I think you are seeing now page of the Hangout, right? So the very first resource I want to present to you is, oops, I'm sorry, just, all right, is this link that I'm gonna post here on to my friends of ICFJ and then we can share with you. The GeoJournalist Handbook, which is the handbook we created while doing the platforms that I mentioned to you. I wrote a small tutorial on where you can find basic environmental data. So here we explain the main formats of data and data sets for you to start doing your maps. All right. So I'm sharing this presentation now, but I believe will help a little bit more to see the overall thing. So here we go. Just one quick thing that will be useful for everybody. I'm going to share the link with all the resources as you open. So if there our presentation of today. Digital tools for reporting, mapping data, as I told you, the focus on environmental data. Why the choice for using maps? I will go really quick. Most of the data sets that we are working nowadays on what we call data journalism have some kind of location element on it. Here's the link for the presentation. Let me try to get also. For allowing better interaction with your audience. So here's an example of a platforms or news apps done by the Los Angeles Times, where they, as you can see, they always give the people the option of mapping their own home or their own houses, or introducing their zip codes, which gives you this option of interaction with the data. Maps are also great for telling stories, and as you get this link here, a video done on of maps. Either you can do a point map like this, where you locating single locations. I mean, like there is just like one lat long for that specific event, so it gives you this point. Or you can have a polygon map, which actually have several locations creating this area, or like a geographical region that is totally covered by the data you want to represent. So this is a very well-known kind of a geographical feature we had on schools, showing a different kind of vegetation on an area as a polygon map. Another map that is interesting, and you kind of measure the concentration, the density of the on color scale. So here is a heat map of biodiversity density. As you can see, the region in South America is actually where there's more species, a range of species probably was mapped here, or even species helping the designers of this map creating this heat map. There is what we know as a bubble map, which is a point with data on it. So this is US, the size of the fire event by its temperature, or even the number of acres burned. So you can scale that point and make a bubble out of it. In journalism is what we call the choropleth map, or thematic map, where you kind of color polygons, countries according to their the countries according to a data pattern. In this case here, we're talking about CO2 emissions. So you look in the scale where the red represents where there's more emissions, and the green less emissions. So it's useful for having a quick look on the trends. So I can quickly say here, for example, that Central Africa, and great part of Africa actually, has no emissions as North America. It's a good example. There's also what we call cartograms, which are when you distort the forms, the geographical representations, also according to data. And the data here in this case is exactly the same data that we were looking before, CO2 emissions. And so I'm seeing here that the designer just scaled the countries according to the size of their emissions. And so you can see China and the US as the bigger surface, and Africa almost disappears, as we saw on the example, the previous example. I'm not going to open this. I'll leave you to open. There's the links, and I believe you have received the link. I'm just going to ICFJ here, and just to make sure that we are on the same page. Let me see. Okay, I'm gonna post here the link for the scene again. You're not following through. So here yeah, sorry, I'm noticing some of my connections being lost sometime. But I'm seeing you. So on page 12, involved on mapping data in tools. So what do you when you go to these data repositories that I've just showed you, there's ones that you're going to find the list on sources for basic environmental data on the geojournalist handbook. I'm also posting here on ICFJ. So these data repositories will you in this CSV, a geographical name can be your city, your state, a country, and or zip code. So tables with any transmitting. Okay, I'll have to share again. Just realized that. I lost. All right. Um, so the other formats that are really useful, KML and KMZ, which can be go on Google or Fusion tables, so any of the Google mapping products that I'm gonna show to you. Format that you usually gonna find it is shapefile, which has a for me. And finally, you can create as automation. The name is called Alert. All right. Sizes, and we could do it right now, but I prefer to go into another introduction area of our presentation, and then getting back here if we have time. If not, we will still have a very clear guide here on how to upload these formats that I mentioned on these tools. But the thing that might help you to decide which tool to use, it's on this document that I'm also posting right now. Just realize that it's not private. So I'm getting this and making it public, our Google Plus page. Okay. What you have in this document. Okay, I'm back. Okay, here we go. So the post that I've just put it here on ICFJ has a table comparing all available, not all, but the main ones used by journalistic ventures on mapping platforms. So we have Google spreadsheets for doing simple thematic maps. We have Google Maps engine for doing single point maps, fusion tables where you can upload. So I'm telling you here the main advantage and main disadvantage, so my opinion, of using these tools depending on your needs, right? So we have also Mapbox and CartoDB. And on the exercises that I just show you, everything is done on more than one tool. So if you were creating points in a polygon map, you're going through Google Maps engine and then Mapbox. You're uploading because I don't have much time here, but you can think about following these steps for mapping your data or your stories. So how we would do this? You set as into your mapping tools and doing your visualization. And if you want to go in creating a news app or experience, choose gel. This is Info Amazonia, which was the main work which inspired us to do what we are doing now. Um, Same thing. Let's share with you the presentation. Let's go back. So here is so what we the deforestation data sets from the Brazilian government and the forest height from the NASA website, which is this green, beautiful green base layer, and then we create this deforestation. After that, to just uh, problem arm shows the deforestation that is going on related to exactly the story. To allow in different contexts, not only the Amazon, to create what we call in this geo-journalism dialogue, where the data provides context to to the story, and the story provides context to the data, right? So you can have a polygon or multiple layers of information, which doesn't actually bring you the story, right, behind what is that what is happening with that event, right, or who caused the who was outside the newsroom and investigate and take pictures and videos to give context to this satellite data that we are aggregating on the. An example of making a graphical interpretation of where this happens more frequently. Another one, which gives you an example of data that we try to compare. These red balls are laborers rescued from illegal farms in the Amazon. How this resource labor, it gives you this graphical interpretation on where more of this operations from the Brazilian government Can you still listen to me? I think so. Just realize I'm back. So I was telling you about the newspaper in Colombia who actually used our story to create their own stories. And other journalists as well have installed GEL to create their own geojournalist platform. Box Packers, which is a tool done in South. And the principle is pretty much the same. You know, you have mapping the number of poaching all over the country within protected areas, which are great polygons. Context into the data. So telling why or I am sorry. Can you hear me? Can you give me someone can just assign the being able to listen to me? General problem in get back to I'll get back to the GL presentation. So I'm just showing you here the link for to download the WordPress theme of GEL and install in your own server. So what you do is to download the zip file and having WordPress on your computer, on your server, I'm sorry, and then once you were there, you will upload this theme and start customizing. So I'm going to show you the back end of Informazonia, and this might help you to understand what I'm talking about. So I believe most of you have used WordPress already. So that's how it looks like. So if you come to Appearance and check for themes, I'm going to show you the option of add a new theme. So here's the GL theme. Okay, let's try again. What I was showing you is the back end of Informazione. So here is how you upload a zip file into WordPress. Right? When you have installed your WordPress on your server, which could be a DreamHost, it could be an Amazon, you just make sure that the server that you hire or your company supports WordPress installation. So it's like installing uh, any other software that you have installed in your computer, you will install in your server. You can ask help from your technical team, but in general, it's really simple. So you install WordPress first, and then we will have a dashboard like this. And on the dashboard and appearance, and you add a new theme, and you can start doing your own gel platform. And that's how you start. You can here's on this quick tutorial I explain you how to create your own map, and I'm going to show you here how it looks like. So you have, when you install gel, we will have what we call a custom post. You have the normal blog post, but then in gel we created new ones. So you have a dataset post, which helps you to describe the data set that you're using, and that's will give you the chance of getting some data and make more available for your users. But here is the maps, and I want to add a new map to my platform. We're going there. So the advantage of using WordPress is that you can bring various plugins to it. So in Informazione, for example, we use plugins called the Q-Translate, and which allows us to have maps in different languages. So we have here, for example, Parque Nacional do Yasuní in Ecuador, and then we'll put in Spanish, and finally in English. Right? You see, I have these three things. On this blank space where you usually have the text, as you can see, I also have Portuguese, Spanish, and English options. What I'm going to do is writing what is this map about. So the map of Yasuní is about the most important national park in Ecuador. But what really matters is how do you customize your map here. You can write a legend, and for example, you could just create a single image file and then link to these files, like image, like simple HTML file, and then you put the link and so on for the legend. And here's how your map look like. So you have the option of having different maps API directly on gel. So here is like choose your base layer. These are the ones that we have already available. So you could have like Stamen, and that's how your homepage map is going to look like. Let me see if there's a message for me here. All right. So this is your map. The other options is bringing Mapbox API or CartoDB APIs, which are tools that you both can see on here on our tools, the comparison of tools, or you can also do on this exercise here, right? That's the tools that we most use. So you can bring this here, and once you decide to publish your map, you just have to actually publish like this, right? Let me just publish one other detail which is very important. You have all the mapping settings as well here. If you want to view on a specific view about like just Brazil, like I'm doing here, you can just set this is the current zoom. You don't want people to come far away from your view. Also, you set the current map limits. You have, if you want, you have a timeline, or even disable the mouse wheel, the mouse scroll. So I'm going to publish this, and this is going to be a new map for me. And that's how you start geotagging your stories. When I'm going to add a new story to GEL, I'm going to relate that story to the post. So my story is about the Yasuni, same thing through language. And here is actually when you add in a blog post, you publish the story as you would normally do, and media, picture, everything, and you can have categories. Mine's about deforestation and oil, and you can have tags, same thing you always have. And we actually work with partner publishers, we classify them, but here's the catch. You attach this story to a map and say like, see, it's maps for this post. And finally, you can geocode your story. So I asked he asked, where is, yeah, I find the Yasuni National Park. Yeah, I'm the right spot. So that's okay. That's okay for me. And so I just have to publish the story, same thing, and that will be done. So that's how you create a story over a data map. I'm sorry that we have so much and so many interruptions today. I really would like to have more time and maybe to answer some questions, but as you can see by the end of these presentations, you have my contacts, you have my Twitter and my ICFJ email. I'll be happy to help you on creating either a geojournalist platform or a single map. My role as an IT International Journalist Fellow this year was to help to create a lab of innovation on environmental journalism, and the projects that we've been doing so far can be seen on this website here. There's a portfolio of Info Amazonia and other work we've done recently. So I think for the moment that's pretty much that I have. What I actually want to do with you is also sharing the whole folder of the webinar where all this material will be. So I'm going to paste all the material of the webinar on this folder, and then you can have it all in once. Okay, let me see it. Oh, here's our map. Look how it looks like. So that's the story I've just published. These are other stories that are related with the issue of Yasuni, but it's not a very good base layer because there's no political division. It wouldn't be good for my stories. But I'm just showing you an example of I published that map, that layer, and just place some stories over it, and that's our story, Yasuni. There's an option then you can share this story via social media, or you would be able to decide, for example, which kind of category, if you don't want any content, for example. That's actually something that you also get in GEL, which is